Okay. Today's lecture is about two-dimensional geometry in terms of complex numbers. Uh, we have learned that if z1 or z2 vector becomes z1 by rotation through angle theta, it is z1 minus z upon z2 minus z is equal to a rotator which is r e raised to or maybe r cis theta cos theta plus I sin theta. That is what is our rotator, right? This is what we have learned. So what is r in this case? R is going to be equal to absolute value of z1 minus z upon z2 minus z. That is the stretching or compressing which will take place. That is magnitude, and argument will be theta, anti-clockwise rotation through which you take denominator vector to become numerator vector. So that is theta, this argument. Fair enough. So now we want to figure out, suppose you have been given complex number z1 and z2. Okay, suppose one complex number z1 is given somewhere here and z2 is given somewhere here. Then there will be a straight line passing through z1 and z2 because they represent 2 points in xy plane, Argand diagram. Therefore, there will exist unique straight line. If z1 and z2 are distinct, find equation of line. Find equation of straight line passing through z1, z2. I give you 5 minutes to find out the equation. Now we are supposed to have, if you come out with equation looks like this, ax plus by plus c is equal to 0. Then this is okay. This represents straight line, but we have spent good amount of time in this kind of straight line last year. Today we wish to have complex number equation of straight line. Therefore, this is true. We will of course construct a bridge between this and whatever equation of line that we will produce. We will have a bridge between them. If this is given, you should be able to get this. If this is given, you should be able to get this. That we will do. But before that, let us try to develop equation of straight line passing through 2 points whose complex numbers are z1 and z2, z1 not equal to z2. Resume recording. Suppose I consider any complex number z, either external or internal to z1, z2. Suppose it is here, z. Then can I use this? Z2 minus z becomes z1 minus z. So
Yes, sir.
if it is a, कौन बोलता है यानी क्या बोलता है? Doubt है क्या?
Nice, sir.
हाँ. If I use z1 minus z upon z2 minus z, in this diagram, denominator vector z z2 becomes z z1. So what do you think about the argument 0? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
0. Argument of this is equal to 0. And now if I consider z, suppose in between z1 and z2, then what is the argument of this? argument of the same ratio, z1 minus z upon z2 minus z. What is the argument? z2 minus z becomes z1 minus z. Pi. Okay. So if the point has to be collinear with z1 and z2, either argument should be 0 or argument should be pi. But if we consider any rotator whose argument is either 0 or pi, then what is that rotator? It's a real.
Real number.
It's a real number. Therefore, z1 minus z upon z2 minus z is real number. But then how do you get algebraic? This is English. z1 minus z upon z2 minus z is English. How the mathematics or a complex number represent. This is a complex number, and the same complex number can I represent so that the implication is that it is a real number. Yes, I can do that. I can say z1 minus z upon z2 minus z, if it is equal to z1 bar minus z bar upon z2 bar minus z bar, that means it is a real number. बघा समजते का? Use conjugate. The number, the complex number, if it is equal to its conjugate, then it's a real number. And so suppose z is real, means z is equal to z bar. And if z is purely imaginary, then if z is purely imaginary, then z plus z bar is equal to 0. This is z minus z bar is equal to 0. If z is real, z minus z bar is 0. If z is purely imaginary, no real part, then z plus z bar is equal to, Arey, samajhte ka? This is very important. You require this for problem solving. You may require, in the statement of the problem, it is given that this is a real number. It's mathematical interpretation. You end up using this. If you don't this idea, I mean, you will not be able to solve the problem. So this is important. If complex number is a real number, z minus z bar is 0. If complex number is purely imaginary number, that means the point is on y-axis. Then its conjugate when added, they become 0. Okay, so now maybe we can call this as our equation of straight line, but we will not keep it in that form. We will simplify it or maybe complicate it, but it should look like equation of straight line. Okay, what we are supposed to do now is, which majority of the thing already I have done, but at least you do some algebraic simplification. Okay, perform couple of steps and get me that in the form. Okay, now let me tell you what is the form in which we would look like. We will be looking for the equation C complex number times z bar plus from same complex numbers conjugate times z plus constant real number is equal to 0. This resembles ax plus by plus d is equal to 0. They look alike. Okay, so now from here, couple of steps, 3 or 4 steps in between, you get me this. Okay, so if I really want to simplify this, I will get, let me do it little wisely, z bar. I want coefficient of z bar, then coefficient of z, and then remaining quantity. So z bar coefficient is going to be equal to minus z1, correct, minus plus z1 and minus z2. So maybe z1 minus z2. Coefficient of z is going to be minus z1 bar plus, काय करतोय मी, प्लस z1 बार मायनस z2 बार. तर आता इकडं मी जर घेतलं तर हा प्लस असणार, इज दॅट करेक्ट? मायनस असणार आहे, थांबा, z1 बार z1 बार म्हणजे निगेटिव्ह पाहिजे होता, त्याला मी पॉझिटिव्ह लिहिला. त्याच्यानंतर z2 जरा जास्तीत जोरात उडी मारतोय का मी, ठीक आहे, z1 z2 बार माइनस z1 z बार माइनस z2 बार प्लस z बार is equal to z2 z1 बार माइनस z2 z बार माइनस z1 बार प्लस z बार. z बार तर कॅन्सल झाले. आता टोटल 6 टर्म्स मी लिहायला पाहिजे. So if I write first term as z bar times z1, so I am taking LHS to RHS. It means, why should I do that? I should take RHS to LHS. z2 minus z1 आणि मग इथं काय येणार आहे, z2 बार कुठे आहे, z बारचा कोएफिशिएंट इकडे आहे, त्यामुळे तो RHS ला आला तर z2 बार मायनस z1 बार. तर मध्ये पॉझिटिव्ह साइन पाहिजे का निगेटिव्ह साइन पाहिजे?
सर निगेटिव्ह येते,
मध्ये निगेटिव्ह होते ना,
निगेटिव्ह असायला पाहिजे.
माझ्या नोट्स मध्ये पण तसंच आहे. सो आय एम कॅरिंग ऑल दीज पीपल टू दिस साइड. इन दॅट केस आता बरोबर आहे, याचा मायनस पाहिजे, बरोबर आहे, मायनस z2 येणार, करेक्ट आहे. चला बरोबर चाललंय. प्लस z1 z2 बार मायनस z2 z1 बार इज इक्वल टू 0. आले सगळ्यांचं इथपर्यंत? तर आता नाव व्हॉट इज दिस फेलो? दिस फेलो इज z1 z2 बार minus z1 z2 bar is equal to 0. So if you have complex number z and you subtract its z bar from it, what do you end up getting? If you subtract
imaginary number,
yes, what do you get?
purely
2 times I times imaginary part of z. Yes or no? 2 times I times imaginary part of z. That is what you end up getting if you subtract conjugate from complex number. So I can write this as 2i times, is it 2i or different? 2i, na? Correct, na? 2i times imaginary part of z. Imaginary part of z, let me call it k. ठीक है? Okay. So I have a, see, I want k to be real number here. K should be real number. And I end up getting something here which is bad, which has got imaginary part. So let me check. What can I do? I can multiply everything by I. Let me call this complex number z2 minus z. Let z2 minus z1 is equal to a plus b, which is equal to t for me. Suppose this is a new complex number t. Then this is t z bar minus t bar z right now. Okay? अरे मी जरा स्लो जातोय, मी थोडा हळूहळू समजून समजून मीच करतोय, पण सगळ्यांना समजते ना. दिस इज z2 minus z1. I am assuming it as a plus bi, which I will represent by t. Then I would like to find out what is z2 bar minus z1 bar. In that case, z2 bar minus z1 bar is going to be a minus bi, which is equal to t bar. Is that correct? Yes. So now if I multiply throughout by I, then what will I get here? What will happen to I times z2 minus z1? It will be ai minus b. And if I multiply this fellow by I, what will I get? ai plus b. Is that right? Yes or no? Which is going to be equal to I times t, which is equal to I times t bar. बरोबर है? This is I times t and this is I times t bar. Suppose we multiply everything by I. Then, so let me write down. So this is equal to I times z2 minus z1 z bar minus I times z2 bar minus z1 bar times z plus, I mean, in this k, anyway it is real number, so I can absorb these 2 inside k and write it as ik into I times k into I is equal to 0, 0 into I. Okay. So now what is my I times z2 minus z1? It is I t bar. Sorry, I times t minus, sorry, I times t times z bar minus I times t bar times z plus, what is this, I square, that is minus 1 times k is equal to 0. Okay. Now look at this. Suppose I t bar, if I make it minus I t bar here, then this sign also will become minus and this sign also will become minus. Yes or no? अरे समझते का? Therefore, minus I times t bar is conjugate of I times t bar. Therefore, I will call it as c and minus I times t bar as c bar. Correct? And I will absorb this minus sign. Is this minus sign there? Yes, but then it is a constant, so constant can be, maybe I will call this as k dash and it becomes k equal to 0. बघा समजतंय का? I have explained it in bits and pieces, but completely now. So this is what is your equation of straight line in complex numbers. So if I say Let us take numerical example and understand what we have done. Suppose I say 3 plus 4i, that is complex number, times z bar plus 3 minus 4i. 3 has to be written like 3 plus 3 minus 4i times z plus 7 is equal to 0. We wish to check whether this is really a straight line or not, and it is easy for us. Maybe I will do it for you first. I have to simply replace z bar. So 3 plus 4i. Oh, why should I do that? I should ask you to do it. Get me ax plus by plus c is equal to 0. Type of equation from this and report what is a is equal to, what is b is equal to, and what is c is equal to. Correct. 3 plus 4i times x minus iy plus 3 minus 4i times x plus iy plus 7 is equal to 0. Simplifying, we get 3x plus 3x, 6x. Everywhere I will get cancelled. That is the fun part of it. That is what we did here. This algebra is all about non-availability of I. Okay, otherwise that I will trouble you, because in two-dimensional geometry equation we don't have imaginary number. Therefore, we want to get rid of that, and still we want some symmetric equation in complex numbers. That is why the whole lot of efforts are taken. So 4i into minus iy is plus 4y, plus 4y is 8y. Complex constant continues to remain constant, is equal to 0. So a is equal to 6, b is equal to 8, c is equal to 7. Very good. Now next job is, suppose I'm telling you, suppose the equation of line line is 7x minus 5y plus 11 is equal to 0. How will it look like in complex numbers? How will this line look like in complex number? In this form. In this form. Now let us write down directly how ax plus by plus c will look like. Now you can actually correlate with this. A by 2 plus b by 2 I times z bar plus a by 2 minus b by 2 times I times z plus 7 is equal to 0. That is how it will be.
Sir, plus C,
Plus
not 7.
7.
Not
I am thinking about what should I give you now. That is how silly mistakes are done. When your mind and hand are not connected to each other. However, you are just focusing on this, not doing anything else. Therefore, you could catch my mistake. I am writing this and I am thinking, what should I give you next? Okay, so I should give you one problem, something like this. Let me make it really complicated for you. In that process, I should not make mistake. Therefore, I was searching for a ready-made problem, but I am not. Okay, wait a minute. I will have a ready-made. Suppose this is the equation of straight line. Tell me slope of this line equal to, लिहून दाखवा. Okay, slope of the line is real part of C upon imaginary part of C with opposite sign, because that is what is A upon B in general equation. Minus A by B is our slope in general equation of straight line, and A and B are present over here, so 5 by 2 in this case.
Sir, shouldn't it be minus V by?
Minus B by, how come? It is 6x plus 8y plus 7 is equal to 0. What is slope? Minus 6 by 8, which is 3 by 4. Yes or no? And then is 3 sitting here? Yes. Is 4 sitting here? Yes. The real part of C upon imaginary part of C with negative sign. Here also, if you look at it, what is this representing? If after simplification, x plus by plus c is equal to 0, right? So what is the slope? Minus b. So minus a by 2 by b by 2, which is minus a by b, which is minus of real part of C upon imaginary part of C.
Sir, slope म्हणजे distance in y-axis traveled per unit distance traveled for x-axis.
ए
मग उलट आहे ना, मायनस बी बाय
मायनस बी बाय
मायनस बी बाय
नाही, तर तुमचं इथे काय असतं रिप्रेझेंटेशन ते सांगा मला. व्हॉट इज ए अँड व्हॉट इज बी इन युनिट डिस्टन्स ट्रॅव्हल मध्ये, ते काय ते सांगा मला समजावून.
सर मग ए वन घेणार ना आपण, मग ए ला वन करताना सगळ्याला ए ने डिवाइड केलं की मग बी बाय ए बाय राहणार.
अरे इथे स्लोप काय आहे सांगा मला तुम्ही. ए एक्स प्लस बी वाय प्लस सी मध्ये
मायनस ए बाय
स्लोप काय आहे?
मायनस ए बाय बी.
अरे हे तर 9वीत झालं.
एम एक्स प्लस सी.
मायनस ए बाय बी आहे ना स्लोप.
स्लोप इंटरसेप्ट फॉर्म्युला.
अरे मायनस ए बाय बी इथे स्लोप आहे, हे पण विसरलात का काय? मायनस ए बाय बी कोएफिशियंट ऑफ एक्स अपॉन कोएफिशियंट ऑफ वाय विथ निगेटिव्ह साइन इज अ स्लोप. आणि आता आपण म्हणलं की हे आणि हे सेमच, हे आणि हे सेमच, त्यामुळे संपला विषय. रियल पार्ट ऑफ सी अपॉन इमॅजिनरी पार्ट ऑफ सी. इथे तुम्ही आता जे मला तुम्ही डिस्टन्स ट्रॅव्हल्ड इन पॉझिटिव्ह डायरेक्शन ऑफ ऍक्सिसचं जे इंटरप्रिटेशन देताय, ज्याला हे तुम्हाला असं वाटतंय की कॉन्ट्राडिक्ट करतंय, तर त्या भाषेत इथं दे ना, व्हॉट इज ए अँड व्हॉट इज बी सांगा ना मला इन दॅट लँग्वेज. इथे कुठे डिस्टन्स ट्रॅव्हल्ड पर युनिट डिस्टन्स ट्रॅव्हल्ड इन एक्स ऍक्सिस आहे? इथे कुठे आहे ए पर युनिट डिस्टन्स ट्रॅव्हल्ड इन वाय? ऍक्च्युली ते आहे, पण ते कोइफिशियंट्स ते फ्लिप झालेले असतात, कारण ते डिनॉमिनेटर आणि न्यूमरेटर मध्ये जातात उलट सुलट. ते कोइफिशियंट आहेत. व्हॉट यू आर सेइंग इज अबाउट झेड बार एक्स आणि वाय, पण हे कोइफिशियंट्स आहेत, त्यामुळे मी सांगतोय ते बरोबर आहे. रियल पार्ट ऑफ सी अपॉन इमॅजिनरी पार्ट ऑफ सी इज युअर स्लोप. नाउ टेल मी distance of, how much is distance? Find distance of z naught from c bar, हे काय होतं नाटक, c z bar plus c bar z plus k is equal to 0. Find distance. कडा बघूया शोधून. We can take help of our 2D because we know how to jump from 2D equation of straight line to complex equation of straight line. Okay. So what we can do is We know what is the distance of a point from line. So this line is a by 2 plus b by 2 I z bar plus a by 2 minus b by 2 I z plus k is equal to 0. And after simplification we get it ax plus by plus k is equal to 0. That is how we get it. So if z naught is x naught plus I y naught, then the distance d is equal to ax naught plus by naught plus k upon radical a square plus b square. That is what is our formula. Correct? So if now this inside quantity of distance formula, if I want to write it in terms of complex numbers, how will I write it? If this means this, then this means a z naught bar, sorry, not a, c z naught bar plus c bar z naught plus k, they are equivalent, yes or no? And now I want to figure out what is this a square plus b square. So if I take c and I want to check a by 2 plus b by 2 I, this is my c, then what is mod c? C bar, what is c bar? Is equal to a square by 4 plus b square by 4, that is what is c bar, which is mod c square. Yes or no? अरे हो का नहीं? Therefore a square plus b square is equal to 4 mod c square, and hence radical a square plus b square is equal to 2 mod c. So denominator will be 2 mod c. That is what is the distance of z naught from c z bar plus z bar, c z bar plus c bar z plus k is equal to 0. अरे समजते का मुलांनो? I mean, I am not deriving the formula all over again. I am just using my 2D knowledge to convert the existing formula into complex number formula. Good. Good means hope you have understood. Next, if I say find equation of line passing through z naught and one parallel to c z bar plus c bar z plus k is equal to 0. Write down equation of parallel line. Is one and the same. So how are you going to get the equation of parallel line? LHS will be CZ bar plus C bar Z. So what is the slope of CZ bar plus C bar Z? I mean, it is minus of real part of C upon imaginary part of C. That is what this line is. We want slope to be same, and only the new line should pass through Z naught. So Z naught should satisfy it. This is the equation of parallel line. बघा जमतंय का? Exactly the way we did it in 2D. Now you have to apply yourself for finding out equation of perpendicular line. जरा त्याच्यात मिस्टेक व्हायची शक्यता असणार आहे. 2 perpendicular to CZ bar plus C bar Z plus K. बोला दाखवा. Okay. So slope of the given line is opposite of real part of C upon imaginary part of C. Now if the line is going to be perpendicular, its slope is going to be numerically equal to imaginary part of C upon real part of C. बरोबर आहे. पण now this is what is in our mind as far as C is concerned. Correct? But then we should manipulate these first two terms in such a way that if we find out slope using this formula, we should get this. बघा game आहे. That is why it is little complicated. Now, because I know the answer, I can directly take the answer and show it to you that slope of this line is going to be, this line is going to be 90 degrees to this line. असं मी दाखव. तर आपण निर्णय कॉम्बिनेशन्स करून बघितली पाहिजेत खरं म्हणजे. पण आता मी उत्तर लिहितो कारण आपल्याकडे थोडा वेळ कमी आहे. सो झेड सी झेड बार मायनस सी बार झेड असं मी लिहिलं. ओके, let us find out what is the slope of this side. Plus k. Suppose the equation of line looks like this, then what is the slope of this? C is our a plus, C is a by 2 plus b by 2i. So a by 2 minus b by 2i is equal to c bar. And I want minus c bar. So minus c bar will look like, okay, minus c bar is equal to minus a by 2 plus b by 2 I. बरोबर आहे. minus a by 2 plus b by 2 I. आणि c कोण आहे? a by 2 plus b by 2 I. Here the slope minus a by b. Now what we want here is b by a. So will it really give me b by a? Will this fellow give me b by a? Now if I have to convert this equation into the equation standard looking form like cz bar plus c bar z, this is not looking standard. So if I want to convert this into a standard looking form, then what should I do? I should consider this cz bar, multiply it by I. So minus I times c bar is equal to minus a by 2 times I minus b by 2. Okay. And if I multiply this fellow also by I, what will I get? IC is equal to a by 2I minus b by 2. Okay. Now these two guys are opposites of conjugates of each other. Can you see that? This is equal to minus b by 2 plus a by 2I, and this is equal to minus b by 2 minus a by 2I. So these two are conjugates of each other. Therefore, I will call this as D and I will call this as D bar. Then my equation will become D bar. Then my equation will become dz bar plus d bar z plus constant is equal to 0. So now slope of this will be real part of D upon imaginary part of D with negative sign. Okay. So our D is this. What is real part of D? Real part of D is B by 2 with negative sign. What is imaginary part of D? A by 2 with positive sign and with negative sign outside. Does that make B by A? That is what we were looking for. And therefore, equation of perpendicular line is CZ bar minus Z bar, C bar Z is equal to, now Z naught should satisfy this. Therefore, CZ naught bar minus C bar Z naught. That is what is the explanation. I am aware few of you will not have understood this, but you need to stretch yourself a bit so that you understand it. It is not something which is very difficult. बघा विचारा समजलं नसेल तर.
सर आपल्याला
According numerical, I give you equation of straight line 1 plus I times Z minus 1 minus I times Z bar is equal to 4I. I say that it is a straight line. Get me equation of this straight line in standard form. C Z bar plus C bar Z plus K is equal to 0. Get me C and get me K. Find the equation in C Z bar plus C bar Z plus K is equal to 0 form of perpendicular bisector of 3 plus 5I and minus 1 plus 3I.
Sir, what was the answer of the previous question?
K is equal to 4, C is equal to, अच्छा C त्याच्या नंतरचा का x plus y minus 2 is equal to 0. Is ax plus by plus c representation of this line?
Sir, in the previous question K4 काढल्यानंतर C कसा काढला एकदा दाखवू शकता का?
हो आता इथे I नको आहे त्यामुळे you just multiply this entire equation by I and find out what happens. So if you multiply entire equation by I, you get I minus 1 times Z. Then what you get here is minus, let us write minus I plus 1 times Z bar is equal to minus 4. बरोबर आहे? But now we want these two guys to be conjugates of each other. Therefore, we absorb this minus sign inside. What we get is minus 1 plus I times Z plus minus 1 minus I times Z bar plus 4 is equal to 0. आता Z bar चा जो कोएफिशिएंट आहे तो C आहे आपला. This is C. And this is C bar. Yes, they are conjugates of each other. Therefore, this is C minus 1 minus I is C. And constant term K is 4.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So equation of perpendicular bisector may be 2D way is easier. Just find out the midpoint. Midpoint is 1 plus 4I. Slope of the line joining these 2 points is 1/2. Therefore, slope of perpendicular line will be 2, and therefore equation of straight line will look like 2x plus y at this point should satisfy it is equal to 6. Therefore, in a x plus by plus c form, equation of line will look like 2x plus y minus 6 is equal to 0, and its corresponding c z bar plus c bar z plus k times k equal to 0 type will look like this. So this is the equation of perpendicular bisect. Okay, we will continue with this